My name is Juliet Martin. I'm 34 years old, and for most of my life, I believed love looked like sacrifice. It looked like saying yes when I was exhausted. It looked like cooking holiday dinners while everyone else laughed in the living room. It looked like shrinking my dreams so nobody felt uncomfortable standing next to them. And for 8 years, my dream sat quietly inside me like a heartbeat. A restaurant, not a trendy little cafe for photos and hashtags. A real place, warm lighting, handmade menus, fresh bread every morning, a dining room where people could sit down and feel seen. I gave everything to build it. Missed vacations, late nights, burned fingertips, loans I was terrified to sign. I spent years working double shifts, catering private events, and sleeping 4 hours a night just to keep the vision alive. Every sacrifice led to one moment. Opening night, I invited 15 people, just family and a few close friends, nothing extravagant. I hand-delivered invitations, sent reminder texts, asked everyone twice if the date still worked. My mother promised she'd come early to help decorate. My father said he was proud of me. My brother Ezra even joked about giving a speech. I believed them. That was my mistake. By 6 o'clock, the candles were lit. The music was playing softly through the speakers. I stood near the front entrance in my white apron, smoothing nervous hands over pressed linen napkins, and I waited. 6:15, 6:30, 7 o'clock, not one person arrived. The restaurant stayed painfully quiet, except for the sound of my own footsteps crossing polished floors. I checked my phone again and again, no messages, no apologies, nothing. Then Ezra posted an Instagram story, a backyard barbecue, plastic chairs, cheap beer, a giant banner that read, "Congratulations, Ezra." Everyone was there. My parents, my cousins, my Aunt Linda dancing near the grill. My entire family had chosen his promotion party over my grand opening. I stared at the screen until it blurred, and then, finally, a text from Dad. "We need to discuss the restaurant. Not congratulations. Not sorry we missed it. Not we're proud of you. Just business." That was the moment something inside me finally became honest. I closed the app, locked the restaurant doors, and stood alone in the dining room I had spent years building. The untouched lemon tarts sat in the kitchen, Ezra's favorite. I threw them away myself. The next morning, I sent one message to the family group chat. Effective immediately, the restaurant is closed to all family members. No discounts, no reservations, no exceptions. 20 minutes later, my phone exploded. Missed calls, voicemails, angry texts. Then came a knock at the back kitchen door. Ezra, of course. He stood there wearing a designer blazer and holding a cardboard box with leftover barbecue cake. "Figured you'd want some," he said with an awkward smile. I didn't invite him in. "Jules," he sighed. Dad said the opening wasn't really a big event yet, more like a soft launch. Soft launch. 8 years of sacrifice reduced to 2 words. "You all went to his party," I said quietly. "You knew what last night meant to me." He shrugged. "People got busy." "No," I replied. "People got comfortable. Comfortable assuming I'd always forgive them. Comfortable assuming my dreams would wait politely in the corner while everyone celebrated someone else." Then Ezra finally admitted the real reason he came. "Dad wants to invest now," he said. "He sees potential." I almost laughed. They ignored me when I needed support, but suddenly they saw opportunity once success looked possible. "The restaurant is fully funded," I told him calmly, "and I'm no longer accepting family partnerships." His smile disappeared. "You're being dramatic." There it was, the family word for boundaries. Dramatic when I cried after they skipped my culinary graduation. Dramatic when they forgot birthdays. Dramatic whenever I asked for basic respect. I looked him straight in the eye. "No," I said softly. "I'm finally being clear." And I locked the door behind him. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty about it. 2 days later, I changed every lock, not just at the restaurant, at my apartment too. Because once I started paying attention, I realized how often my family treated me like a resource instead of a person. Borrow my car, cover dinner this time. Can we store furniture at your place? Can you help with rent just for a month? I always said yes, because somewhere deep down, I confused usefulness with love. But real love shows up. Real love doesn't skip your biggest moment and then ask for ownership once strangers start applauding. So I stopped answering calls. Instead, I focused on the restaurant. And something unexpected happened. People came, not because of sympathy, because the food was good, because the space felt real, because honesty has a way of attracting people who are hungry for it. A local food blogger posted a photo of the handwritten sign near my entrance. Reservations only. Respect required. The post went viral. Suddenly, strangers were sharing my story online. Support the chef who built her dream alone. She turned heartbreak into something beautiful. This is what boundaries look like. For the first time, people weren't asking me to shrink. They were encouraging me to expand. Then came the bad reviews. 6 one-star ratings appeared overnight, all suspiciously similar. Complaints about rude staff and cold food from people who had never even eaten there. I knew immediately where it came from. My family. Or at least people acting on their behalf. Old Juliet would have panicked. New Juliet gathered evidence. I contacted a journalist who had once interviewed me for a local feature. Within days, an article was published exposing the fake reviews and the pressure my family had been placing on me behind the scenes. The response was overwhelming. Customers lined up outside the restaurant. Reservations booked weeks in advance. People brought flowers, notes, encouragement. One woman hugged me near the hostess stand and whispered, "Thank you for showing women they don't have to stay small to keep the peace." I cried in the kitchen after she left, not because I felt weak, because after years of feeling invisible, someone finally saw me clearly. Then one evening, Ezra's fiancée Natalie walked into the restaurant just before closing. She looked exhausted. They created a group chat. She admitted quietly, "Your parents, Ezra, your aunt, they were trying to pressure you into selling or failing." She slid her phone across the table, screenshots, messages, mocking comments about my restaurant, plans to hurt the business until I came back to reality. Reality. As if dreaming bigger than them was somehow betrayal. Natalie looked ashamed. "I can't marry into this," she whispered. I stared at the messages for a long time. Then I realized something important. I didn't need revenge anymore. The truth was enough. A week later, the screenshots became public after Natalie shared them herself online. Everything changed overnight. People finally understood. I wasn't the difficult daughter. I wasn't dramatic. I wasn't selfish. I was simply the first person in the family who stopped accepting emotional crumbs. Reservations doubled. A major food magazine featured the restaurant in an article called "The Chef Who Refused to Shrink." And for the first time in my life, success no longer felt like something I needed permission to enjoy. Exactly 1 year later, I opened my second location. Bigger kitchen, rooftop garden, sunlight pouring through exposed brick windows. But this restaurant felt different. I hired people who reminded me of myself years earlier, quiet dreamers, single mothers rebuilding their lives, young cooks nobody else believed in yet. We built more than a business. We built safety. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, a reporter asked me the question everyone wanted answered. "What would you say to your family now?" I smiled. "Nothing," I said gently, "because healing changes you. At first, you want apologies, then explanations, then accountability, and eventually, peace becomes enough." That night, after the final customers left, I stood alone in the kitchen, dusted with flour and rosemary. The room buzzed softly with leftover laughter and clinking dishes. For years, I thought success meant finally earning my family's approval. But standing there, surrounded by people who chose kindness without conditions, I finally understood the truth. The dream was never the restaurant. The dream was becoming someone who no longer abandoned herself just to be loved.